Everybody, just wanted to share some thoughts with you concerning pain and how it's actually not a bad thing. I was listening to a sermon at a friend's house a few weeks ago, and the gentleman was speaking on how pain in itself is the symptom, not the problem. And it's something that I've found to be true in my own life. A lot of people, as soon as there's any kind of pain, be it physical or emotional, automatically they want to medicate. They want to turn to pharmaceuticals. They want to turn to street drugs or sex or video games, whatever the addiction may be. And they continually, and I've done this myself. I smoked for 10 years. I drank heavily for 3 years. I had my share of addictions. One of the most destructive for men is pornography. They have this, a very destructive habit, and it's more spiritually and emotionally and mentally destructive than anything. But as we all know, an emotional wound or even a spiritual wound is just as devastating as a physical wound. It can hold you back just as much. Now, to go on with that, if I were to cut my arm, I could not do too much with that arm until that cut healed. Now, if I were to go and look at pornography even for short periods of time, that would create an emotional wound that would all of a sudden make it very difficult for me to connect with my wife on a level that is actually pure. It would be like looking at her and wondering, why don't I feel an emotional connection? Because I have already given myself to the pornography, and that mindset is suddenly there that, oh, this is just something to feel good. It's not really an emotional connection. So you really trip yourself up. But back to the point, pain in itself is not the problem. It's merely a symptom of a deeper issue. A prime example, if you've had relationship issues in the past, stop and look at your past life and any emotional traumas you may have endured in your lifetime, and go back and come to terms, come to peace with it, deal with that as not only as a situation, but as a wound. Go back, figure out where you were wounded, and have that healed by Almighty God. That's the only way it's really going to work. I've tried self-medicating. I've tried going to a what I call a paper-on-the-wall counselor. Secular counselors that say, oh, do this, do that, do the other thing. Spend a week at a psychiatric hospital, take this certain drug for how long, and none of it worked. And I was blessed enough to go to a Bald Eagle Wilderness Boys Camp School up in just outside of Lock Haven. And it was a wonderful experience. I was up there for 1 year and 5 months, and they literally taught me how to be a man, how to be a person, not just this walking wound, but to take responsibility for my actions, to deal with things in an appropriate manner. And I would encourage anyone to go ahead and just deal with whatever it is that's haunting them. You know what it is. You know what it is. There's no question in your mind or mine. You know what I'm talking about. Pain in itself is a good thing. I once heard it said, if I had the power to take away pain, I would never do such a horrible thing to mankind. But once pain turned to suffering, then I would help to alleviate the suffering. And I have to agree with that. If you do not feel pain, you could break your bones, cut yourself. You could really get hurt and you wouldn't feel a thing. So suddenly those wounds that pain generally would say, hey, don't put your finger under that blade, or don't smack your thumb with a hammer, don't get hit by a car. You don't feel anything, so suddenly you don't know that it's bad. You don't know, hey, there's something wrong here. So I'd like to encourage you, brothers and sisters in the faith, that Embrace the pain. It's not the problem, it's a symptom. The pain in itself is letting you know that something's very wrong. Something needs to be done. An analogy I like to use is sticking your finger in a mouse trap. It frustrates me when I look at a situation and I keep making the wrong choices, keep making mistakes, and to me it's like putting my finger into a mouse trap. So suddenly, snap, ouch, oh that hurt. Why did I do that? That was really dumb. Why would I do that? Next thing you know, I snap it again. Ow, that hurt. What am I doing here? Why am I doing this? This is really stupid. So instead of putting your finger in a mouse trap and continually trying to self-medicate and get away from the pain, how about dealing with the symptoms so you understand this isn't just about pain. It's about a deeper rooted issue. And with that, I'll sign off. Have a wonderful day. Be blessed. And may the Lord bring you the sweet revelation.